So welcome back to Travel with Montague, and I wanted to start off with a map of Japan to start off the second part of my series. What I wanted to talk about are the regions of Japan that are very popular versus regions of Japan that are not as popular, and where I'm looking to help people that are interested in purchasing a home in Japan get access to my network. So, first and foremost, Japanese Alaska is Hokkaido. When you're in Hokkaido or in Sapporo, you are actually closer to Korea and Russia than you are to Tokyo, literally. The islands that are in contestation by the Russian Federation are north of that. Tohoku is a beautiful region. It's colder. It's getting more away from the hustle and bustle of big city life in Japan. It's more of a older part of Japan that is experiencing drops in population. There's plenty of real estate. Again, not my cup of tea. The Kanto region is the most popular part of Japan right now. And the prefectures that are high on the list for foreigners that don't want to live in Tokyo but want to live within 2 hours of a train ride, whether it's local or bullet, are as follows. Kanto region. So you have Kanagawa, which is home to Yokohama City. You have Chiba, you have Ibaraki, Saitama. The next closest prefecture that's not in the Kanto region is Shizuoka. If I was looking for a property in Japan, I would start with Shizuoka. Why? I don't want to be in the Kanto region. There's nothing wrong with being in the Chuba region. Chuba region is home to Mount Fuji. And it's not populated on this map, but just know it's home to Mount Fuji. So Toyama, Ishikawa, Fuki, Gifu, Aichi, Shizuoka, Shizuoka, and Yamanashi all surround Mount Fuji. So you are literally getting the rural country life of one of the biggest attractions and volcanoes in the world in your backyard. The Kinki region is another gorgeous part of Japan that is home to the Kansai region. So, yes, on the map it says Kinki, but geographically, a lot of people know Kansai as Shiga, Kyoto, Hyogo, and Osaka, and Nara, because that's Kansai by definition. You have the Shikoku, which is another area of Japan that has a low population because of its speciality. It's You might get a couple of cities over 100,000 people in the Shikoku region. Chugoku has Hiroshima, and Hiroshima is a popular place because of winter sports. People are obsessed and in love with the winter sports of Japan, and their number one thing is between Hiroshima and Nagano, where Japanese Winter Olympics have been hosted in the past 100 years. Hiroshima and Nagano are the two biggest draws for Winter Olympics, unless you're going up to Fuji. So let's get down to my personal favorite, Kyushu. I taught and lived in Kyushu for 2 years in Kumamoto Prefecture. I've been to Fukuoka. I've been to Oita. I lived in Okinawa. My father was in the Air Force. I've been to Kagoshima. I haven't been to Miyazaki or Nagasaki yet, but I'm dying to go back to Beppu on a vacation. So those are the regions of Japan. You heard it from the horse's mouth. What is my priority if I was recommending places to live in Japan for first timers or people willing to go deeper in Japan? If you've been in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, or Dallas, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., or Los Angeles, go to Tokyo. Just stop talking to me. I don't need to bother you. Go to Tokyo. If you don't have Tokyo money, then it is Chiba, Saitama, Yokohama, well, Kanagawa Prefecture, Kawasaki, and a few other places. If you don't have Tokyo money, it's okay. You can get along nicely in Shizuoka, Yamanashi, Saitama, or even Ibaraki. You're just going to be making a bullet train commute, and that might run you $90 round trip. from home to work, period. And it's okay. If someone said, "Hey, I want to live in the woods and I want to be surrounded by mountains," that's anywhere in Japan. That's not really specific. If you want to be close to Tokyo, but you want to be in the mountains, Shizuoka, Yamanashi, Aichi, Gifu, Nagano. You can still catch a bullet train to Tokyo or a flight, and you'll be there in less than 4 hours. If you wanted to get away from Tokyo, and I'm talking about all the way away from Tokyo, Okinawa. Since World War II, Okinawa has been a major American military hub, and it's always been Japan's personal Hawaii. Without going to Jeju Island or physically going to Hawaii itself, Okinawa. It's heavily westernized. There's a lot of opportunities. Real estate is expensive because it's such a hot spot. But if you wanted to live the beach life, be legally in Japan, but not in Japan, Okinawa. If you don't know the joke, Okinawans are not Japanese. They are Okinawans and they will fight you for it. Just a heads up. So, my personal priority list in living in Japan. I love Kansai. There are three very unique, distinct dialects of Japanese. If you're listening to the tones in their voice and their physical expression and their body language, Osaka reminds me of Chicago and New York, outside of rich areas. Even though they are rich in culture and unique, they have a very wide grasp of everything, and it's beautiful and it's enriching, and I love it. Next, if I get bored of Osaka, I can hop on a train and go straight into Kobe and be 20 minutes from the mountains and 20 minutes from the sea. If you look at the background behind me, this is the heart of downtown by Sannomiya Station. You can't get much better than this. You have a shopping district that is literally 2 miles long and a quarter mile wide. You have some of the best restaurants, jazz clubs, museums, points of interest, and you have thriving communities that engage with foreigners. Yeah, you just got to start learning Japanese or be very patient with their broken English and be humble to listen to them. When I want to really deep dive into Japanese history, Kyoto. The only reason why we didn't bomb Kyoto during World War II is that an American senator came over and fell in love with the history, the power, and the culture of the city of Kyoto. And you can look it up on your own time, but I'm not going there. So, priority number one for me would be Kansai, Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, and Kyoto. Those are the four major cities. Now, if I didn't have Kobe City money, Himeji. Himeji is not the capital. It's a little bit cheaper, but it's about an hour and 45-minute train ride from Himeji to Kobe. No complaints there. I'll show you on the Google map in a second. So hop on a train, hour and 20. And that's if you catch the early express. So, and that's leave now. Let's say we left um rush hour. There is an express, 60 minutes, and you can do it. And you're looking at the prices, and that's about $7. So if you don't even want to have a car, you just want to catch a bus to the train station and deal with the human traffic, you can do round trip for less than $30 a day from Himeji. Now, let's say I was in Osaka and I had to come to um, Kobe to work, which a lot of people do. It's very common in Japan. You can take the local express. You can take the regular. Yeah. This region of Japan is so tightly knit and intertwined, you can literally be anywhere in the region in under 2 hours. Just accept it for what it is. Now, does that mean there's a lot of communities on the way? Yes. That means there's suburbs, exclusive neighborhoods, the whole gambit. You just have to find what fits your boat. My recommendation for Kansai, spend a week, actually spend 2 weeks if you can get away with it, 10 days to 2 weeks. That way you can have 4 full days in each city, see what the nightlife is like, walk around a couple of neighborhoods, get a vibe for the culture and the local populace. And let me show you the train routes again, because I just did the thing I promised not to do. So if you lived in Osaka and you're going to Kobe, 29 minutes, and this is 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, with the exchange rate being almost 150, this is literally like 280 to 290 to $350. Oh, boo, you did it. Okay. So if we were going Himeji, let me get out of here and to show you getting to and from. So Himeji Station, that's like what? $10. 750 for a 36-minute well, limited express ride to work. And if you work a 10-minute walk from Kobe Station, you be straight. And this is Kobe, so let me put in Sannomiya because Sannomiya is where I want to be. That is the heart of downtown. Okay, 40 minutes to an hour. If you took the JR, if you were really in a rush, almost 30 bucks, $24, whatever. It's negligible, but this is the regions that we're looking at. And if you notice, there are towns and communities along the way. So that is the point we're getting at with this series. What I'm trying to do is get people in the mindset that you can have big city life on small city, small town budget and just be willing to commute. The reason why I have not started with getting a car in Japan, it's expensive. And you need to get a Japanese driver's license. You can't move to Japan with the AAA international license and use it as your legal driver's license. You will get in a lot of trouble not going there. So I'm planning for the people that don't want to invest in a car right away and they're coming to get a house. That's it. So here's the next thing. Let's go back to the map. The next part of Japan I want to focus on is Kyushu. So people in Tokyo are like people in New York. If you're not from there, you're slow. And it drives them so insane to the point of being slow that they get aggravated. And I've seen it. And Japanese people getting upset and aggravated about being in a community that doesn't move the speed that they like from their hometown of Tokyo, it bothers them, which leads to people from the local community don't like them Tokyo folk. And I find it quite interesting. But while we're doing that, I would like to show you Kumamoto just getting around to different parts of Kyushu using the train. Now, the thing with Kumamoto is it's one, the sister city to San Antonio. Two, not only is the sister city, it feels like home. And I'm from San Antonio. And what I mean by it feels like home, it's a beautiful community. The people are awesome. Um, Everything works the way once you get into the motion of what Kumamoto is, um, it just makes sense on levels that make you feel like you could do this in your sleep. And that's just being in Japan. Once you understand of how to not leave your trash, how to not be the annoying gaijin, and just living a comfortable life. There's so much opportunity in Japan if you're just looking for a simple life. So let's hop back to the map. Now, Kumamoto literally is the heart of Kyushu. You can argue with me all you want. We can zoom it out. But if we were looking for the heartbeat of southern Japan, my opinion, Kumamoto is where it's at. So next you have Sasebo Naval Station in Sasebo in Nagasaki, Japan. There's a lot of industrial companies that move a lot of freight. You have Nagasaki, yeah, that Nagasaki, just south of it. But you also have Amakusa, which is a beautiful resort town in Japan. Not only that, you have Aso-san, and right now what I got highlighted is Hakata Station. Why do I got Hakata Station highlighted in Fukuoka? Because that is the back door to Tokyo. For those of you that are trying to conduct business in the United States or in Tokyo, and you don't want to pay for living in Kumamoto prices, I'm sorry, Fukuoka prices, it's literally a 2 hour and 46 minute transition to the airport. And to make this simple, is that you can catch a bullet train ride for about $37. You can be in Fukuoka in an hour, take a cab from the train station to the airport in another 45 minutes, and then you're on your way to Tokyo. An hour and 15-minute flight from Fukuoka to Tokyo. You're on your way home. So, and I'm going to put Haneda International Airport just for the sake of argument. There you go. So once you get to the airport, it's an hour and 30-minute flight, nonstop. So in under 4 hours, you can, in any emergency situation, you can be in Tokyo on your way back to the United States or anywhere in the world. So that's my number two. And the reason why Kumo is my number two, shopping opportunities are not as extensive for my personal hobbies and interests. Let me repeat, are not as prevalently available for me in Kyushu. Yes, the one thing that a lot of people don't understand about Japan is that you have specialty chains, specialty stores, just like the United States. In the United States, we are limited in certain markets to Costco, Walmart, and Best Buy for electronics. In the Kansai region, you have so many different little avenues. Osaka has Denden Town, Kobe has Sannomiya, and a couple of surrounding outlet malls, including Home Off, Hard Off, and Tech Off. And then there's Costco Japan. Now, as I'm prepping this, I'm going to literally just go to a map and put Costco's in Japan. So the secret to my planning is that a lot of people don't understand the benefits and the powers of Costco. And I can't stress that enough that I would rather um, have that list of where I can get what I want, how I want, and shop. So we're going to pull up this map. And I pulled this from Costco's website directly in Japan. So costco.co.jp. So the regions that I want to live in, Kumamoto has a Costco. Fukuoka has a Costco. Um, Technically, Fukuoka has two Costcos. Kitakyushu has a Costco. Hiroshima has a Costco. There's one Costco in Kobe. There's three in Osaka. There's one in Kyoto. There's one in Shiga. In Nagoya, there's basically three. Hamamatsu, there's one. Yamanashi has one. Tokyo has plenty. They're kind of selfish and greedy. Chiba has one. And all the way up in Miyagi and Yamagata, there's one. And then in Sapporo, surprisingly, they have two. So this is straight from the Costco.co.jp website. Get bent, take it for what it is. Yes, you can use Google Translate to put this into English because they do have English speaking customers that travel all the way to Japan just for a Costco. So yeah, I can't even begin. And just to give you an argumentative idea of why, I just want to look for a Sony at Costco. And that's a Toshiba. I want more options. Oh, darn. No Sony, but Toshiba's right up there. Kikuchi's in there. And I also love Sharp. So we're going to add Sharp. All right. So now, I don't know the logistics of um, specific prices in Japan, but Toshiba is a highly regarded brand. Now, you're thinking, that's a lot of yen. Okay, $600 for a 65-inch TV with an extended warranty available. And you're going to have a hard time fitting this into the average Japanese apartment without it being wall mounted. So suck it up, Buttercup. You'll be okay. Now, we want to get bigger. You don't want bigger in Japan. You don't. Japan's a small country unless you are custom building your house. So let's go to Kikuchi. I haven't heard anything about the Kikuchi brand. Magnetic screen. Okay, I guess those are for projectors. No wonder they're cheap. And that's fine because that's a trend in Japan that we'll talk about later. LG. All right, 65-inch, 50-inch, 75-inch. No, that's a 55. I lied. 83. Jeez. 77. I'm not. Now we're good. So, as you saw on the map, I'm planning my permanent residence in Japan around the availability of a Costco because I support the Costco brand, even through the current crisis in the United States. Okinawa has a Costco in Naha. That's hilarious to me. But yeah, yeah. And let me show you again for those of you that don't believe about Hokkaido. So in Hokkaido, where you have this beautiful town, Sapporo, you are literally closer to Russia, Vladivostok, and other Dagnodesk and other parts of Russia than you are to Tokyo, point blank. And the contested islands, for those of you that failed history, this chunk of island mass, the Sea of Okhotsk, yeah, the Kuril Islands and the landmass above Sapporo have been vehemently fought over history. I'm going to always say they belong to Japan. You could have negotiated this out thousands of years ago and call it a day. But we don't do politics here. We're just not today. So now that we got this chunk out of the way of how to plan or how I'm planning my stay in Japan, let's finish off the list. Ehime, the bottom section of Japan where Shikoku is. The reason why that is not on my priority list, but an acceptable list, that technically would hit my number 4 as long as I was in Tokushima and I could just catch the highway or a ferry to Osaka or Kobe and I could go to Costco, grab my stuff, catch the ferry back. Now, with that being said, um, number 4 and why it's number 4 over being close to Tokyo is that, and I'm going to show you on the map. And keep in mind, the white areas are predominantly urbanized. So as we're looking at Tokyo in the middle of the screen where the little hand is waving, you have the 23 special wards of Tokyo. Consider each ward its own small city, even though it's part of the greater Tokyo area. Once you get out of that, You have Chiba. Chiba is a beautiful prefecture that's a little bit larger in geographical size only, not population, only in size. Goes all the way out to the eastern seaboard of Japan. It's surrounded by Tokyo Bay. And there's plenty of opportunities to live in a small town off of a train line. If you notice that, yes, you can see the highways, you don't see the train lines of Japan. And that's very important. This is the highway industrial routes that are used for large businesses and some, not all of your highway-based traffic for consumer drivers, meaning personal drivers and your own car driving around Tokyo. The reason why I'm saying not all is that in the West, especially United States and Canada, you do not have a toll booth at the entrance and exit of every major highway. That means that you do not have to pay to use the highway for high-speed access to another part of the city. Yes, there are toll tags and other account-based ways of paying off your highway usage. But again, when you can go from Chiba Station all the way to Tokyo for less than $8, why would you want a car? The one thing that a lot of people are going to have a hard time understanding about Japan is that the initial 90 days, before we even call it a honeymoon period, your first 90 days are the hardest. You are mentally walking away step by step from the life that you had before coming to Japan and realizing that it's going to take an arm and a leg to move you home. So I'm not even to the part where people are trying to bring their Western furniture to Japan. Don't. It's ridiculous unless you know someone who has a shipping container and a contract to move that container across the ocean for next to nothing. Don't. Third, the concept of uprooting yourself again and again and again is a something that a lot of people aren't comfortable with for a country that they haven't been to for the first time. A lot of people can travel around Europe and they can set up roots anywhere because they either speak their language, they made friends, they're part of a community, they have people, they have family, or they have someone that is helping making a transition smooth. What I'm trying to do as far as the real estate investment part, and this is for people with average salaries less than six figures, is one, I wanted to show you my priority regions in this video, which I've accomplished, including using the Costco map. Now, does Costco do special orders? I'm sure certain stores do if you're missing a little bit of home. What does this mean for everybody else? This means you're going to stick around for part three, where I show you some of the websites that I've used to find properties in Japan. So, thank you. And no, Costco didn't sponsor me. I just love Costco as a member. I've had a black card going on, I want to say 15 years now. So the big thing for me with Costco is that my points will travel with me. My member access will travel with me. I can use the Costco anywhere in the world. And if I want to set up an office in Japan, it will definitely be somewhere where there is a Costco, bar none. Now, I did get a couple text messages and emails when people found out I was recording this. Cell phones, internet services, and all of that will be done later. And I would rather give you to someone who's local in Japan who can help you with that speaks English or your native language. But if you're going to ask me to do it, it comes later. So thanks for watching the second video.